traveling. And during our consciousness, how many classical words use this term and exploring traveling as a metaphor for processes of self-transformation and self-determination. So how do we travel? Why do we travel? Do we travel to have a break? Is it for fun, for leisure? Is it for business? What is it? Fashion, those far remote places haven't. Being a traveler and not a tourist means being a world citizen. I believe it's the best way to learn about people and places and to understand more things not only about yourself, but also about all differences and challenges posed about the contemporary world. After traveling to places that will never be the same to you, because when you can picture them in your head, you can actually relate to them. And international news and events will require completely different pictures. You will start caring, and that's what makes it different. Traveling also gives a very different perception of the amount of things you need in your life. So when traveling, you can take a whole house with you, so you need to make choices, and you learn to make them smart. I learned you can take 20 dresses and 20 pairs of high heels if you have only 20 pounds backpack. So, and if you have to walk around the city with a backpack, you are forced to evaluate what you actually need, and you will describe some of that is. And that hopefully also will make you think when you come back home about the amount of things you actually need in your life. So I think all of the things that I'm going to talk about because of lack of resources and a constant desire to travel. We were young, we didn't have any money, but we wanted to explore the world. So we did all of those things with very little resources. And using a quote of a modernist prophet in the 20th century, who said that less is more is more. And so it starts with resources, really find creativity you would not have had otherwise. So in my life, I've been to more than 25 countries. I've been accounted. Well, some of them are very low countries, but there are a lot of people that travel much more than that and travel every day of their lives. But it's not about how many places you go to, it's about what you learn from the places you go to. And so I have several friends that were much more experienced in traveling than I am. One of my coworkers last year will often mention that he hitchhiked throughout Russia to the Far East and then back in 40 days. And then another time he went down to the Middle East through countries like Azerbaijan, Armenia, and all the way down to Ireland, and he hitchhiked back and forth. And he's a businessman who serves coffee in his free time. And then the guy decided to take 2 years off in the middle of his university career and travel around the world with $50 in his pocket. And it didn't work out. He traveled all the way through Asia to China, Laos, Malaysia. Now he's in LA trying to get his way back home. And he made a project out of it with series of podcasts, radio stations, blogs. A lot of people watched it and read it, and he is traveling without a money. Or this group of artists from home traveled around the world, and as you can see along the coast of America with a stool. It's basically an art project they made out of it. They took pictures, they made a film. There was some like a travel exhibition earning money by presenting what they did. And my friend from Ukraine, who during his study abroad in the US, actually traveled from East Coast to West Coast in 30 days, and he couch surfed with visitors to Grand Canyon and many, many other people. Later, next year, he returned back home and his friend hitchhiked also throughout Europe, and later on, they made a project out of that, which is a charity project called Mission Hitchhikeable, which is hitchhike and raise money and raise awareness of different world issues. So, traveling to places is not about going there, it's also about learning that. And all of those travelers were really good friends. And I don't chase them down, it just happens once you acquire a certain lifestyle, you meet really amazing people. It takes certain kind of character not to have things planned in advance, but traveling means having an adventure, and things change as you go. I would encourage everybody who wants to travel to talk to people and get to know them. Don't stay in hotels that are boring here. Hotels, you can find the same rooms all over the world with the globalization and disappearance of world cultures. Even the most luxurious hotels are the same all over the world. Rent rooms, apartments, talk to people. But what I'm highly suggestive of is couchsurfing, or using social networks and connections with friends, friends of friends, acquaintances, different social connections, anything you can find. And that's a lot of fun because you get to know people and talk to them and you get much more immersed into the environment. In my life, in all the places I've been to, never paid for a hotel room ever in my life myself, and probably paid almost twice for a hostel. Because it's a great network of people, and try using couchsurfing even if you don't want to stay with people, they will still be glad to show you around. And how cool is that to have friends all over the world who should get to after traveling to places. So staying with people leads you into an amazing network of people who are able to help strangers and who are willing to help others. Why would you ever help a person you've never seen in your life? It's a self-selective network of people that are not only eager to help, but also willing to share their own stories and their own lifestyle, and learn new things, show other people their it is. Why would you ever let a stranger in your house? Why would you leave keys to a person you know for 2 hours? And there are so many people in my life that did that. In Rome, I stayed with a family who had 2 little kids, 2 grandparents, throughout winter holidays. And the first time we saw them ever in our lives was when we came to their apartment. It can be a challenge, but challenge yourself, talk to people. It might be less convenient to stay in a hotel room, but you are exposed to so many more things than just, renting a room out. And so at a certain point in my life, I made a pledge to myself, whenever anybody asks me for a place to stay, I have to say yes, because there are so many people that helped me. They didn't have to help me ever, but they did, and so no matter how inconvenient or uncomfortable it might be, I decided that I have to say yes. So getting to know local people is great, and do things you want to do at home. If you have traveled half of the world, why would you hang out with the same people you can hang out at home? Try to talk to people. And even if you travel alone, you will recognize that traveling alone doesn't mean that you're actually alone. There are so many people that are willing to talk and share their own stories. And I've heard amazing stories while hitchhiking. People just pick you up on the road and tell you about their lives. I wish I was a writer because there are so many stories that are so much stronger and so much more complex than any fictional drama or any soap opera. And I also believe that this works because people have good intentions. Travel can open heart and unexpected goodness will happen. Because 99% of the people, I believe, have good intentions unless you approach them having this picture in your head. So experiences should be a priority. I don't think there's a need to file a tour itinerary while going to places, because there's no such thing as must-see. All the landmarks in the cities are just basically signifiers and symbols of something. What I would suggest is to make your own city for yourself. So pick out experiences you will want to form a picture of the place you went to. And so don't do generic things. Go into Paris doesn't mean that you have to go to the Eiffel Tower. Go to the local grocery store, get wine, cheese, and bread, and have a picnic right next to the tower. Looking at the tower, it's going to be so much better than going up and paying a lot of money for doing that. So look for your own eyes and heart, and not with a viewfinder of the camera, because experiences is what makes a place. And be creative. There are so many free things to do in the city if you have no money. There are free city tours, there are free concerts, free exhibitions, things to do around bars. Talk to people. I talk to people about what to do. Change directions, go to small streets, explore the city, because it's definitely not what the main map tells you or what the guide will tell you. Try to change the picture you have in your head about what cities, because how locals see them is actually much more different. I figured all of those things out because of the lack of resources and financial limits. But I believe that there is a much more creative approach. I did things I would have done otherwise. More is aboard, and try to live according to the local financial limits. I don't think it's okay to spend $100 for dinner at a restaurant if in a place you go to, local family can sustain themselves for a month with that stuff. So really just try to fit into the environment, because that's what I think makes traveling and not tourism. Also, I like to remind myself that traveling is actually a privilege, and tourism did not become a thing until well into the 20th century. There are so many people that cannot afford still to travel, but what if you're young or enthusiastic and really want to travel? I still believe there are no financial constraints or financial, limits that cannot allow you to travel if you really want to. So because there are so many free ways of doing things, besides all the educational seminars, conferences, projects you can go to, there are also other things like hitchhiking, couch surfing, flying low cost, and I just really think you need to be creative. Tell the stories, tell what you want to do to people, and people will help because I believe in general people are good. So make a project out of it. Be really creative with your travel. Do some research before going to places it's actually going to help. You can volunteer, you can do some work, you can help to investigate things in the places you go to. And some of the most creative travelers work for food. Money constraints are real. I traveled last summer with a girl who spent 3 years in every country we go to, and that would be approximately once in 5 days. And if you think if it's not possible, it is actually possible. So try to learn outside the comfort zone, and even though it might not be so comfortable and convenient, it's still a great learning process. Be persistent because when traveling, things don't always turn out the way you want them to, but you have to be ready for different things, be flexible, open, and independent. Don't be afraid of foreigners. You will probably won't understand the full cultural context of the people around you, but really try not to judge them on the foreigners. You will get so much better at non-verbal communication. And I just really hope that after traveling to places, you will realize that they're not better or worse, and that foreigners isn't better or worse. It's just really different. And try to understand that. And I believe after going to places, you stop judging people as much as you do otherwise. So traveling can be a hard, complex experience, but it's also an immersive, immense educational experience. I like to read about places when I go there because I don't believe you can learn geography or economy or anything else about a place really well unless you know what the place is like. So, real travel is a trip which you can contemplate over for quite a while, and you can develop meaningful social connections that will go well into your life. Get inspired, learn about yourself and the world. And this all relates both to local, national, and international travel. Because going to a different city in your own country or just going an hour away from the place you live in might be as interesting as going abroad across the ocean. But if you still believe in financial constraints and other limits you might have an imaginary trip, plan your trip, have a dream trip, but plan to every single detail. Internet is a great help. Find your favorite places, places you would eat at, plan to every single detail, and that would really make you happy. And who knows, maybe one day you get a chance to do that. So plan your trips and dream, and dream, and dream big. So, one day.